Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode. So today I'm with a player that is part of the national team from France. She's playing the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. How do you continue? Do you keep playing there for many years, or you just move to other clubs? Or
I moved a lot. For me, I wanted to be the best I could and I wanted to learn the more I could.
as a goalkeeper, do you know something that you would like to know when you started?
I would say no matter what happened, keep focusing on your love of the game.
You say that your dream from play an Olympic game was from you were 12. How was all that process until you make the Olympic Games?
I followed my dream because for some reason it was in my heart and I decided I just want to follow what's in my heart.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode. So today I'm with a player that is part of the national team from France. She's playing the Olympic Games in Paris 2024 and today is playing for Royal Antwerp in Belgium. So welcome to the podcast to Lucie Ehrmann. So first of all, thanks for your time, Lucie. How are you?
Thank you, Gonzalo, for having me. I'm extremely happy to spend this time now with you. I'm doing good. I'm excited to move to Antwerp in a couple of weeks, as I told you, and I'm happy to have some time off now from hockey to rest and recharge.
Nice, nice. So, Lucy, I would like to know a bit of your career from the beginning. So, how did you start? How is going until today for the people who doesn't know who is Lucy?
Yeah, sure. So I started in France when I was around 6, 7 years old. I discovered at school a coach from a club around Bordeaux, where I come from, would come to our schools to teach kids about hockey in order to get hockey a bit more popular in France. So that's how I discovered. And for 4 years, I played at school until I broke my arm doing skateboard. And when I came back being able to sport, I thought, you know what? I really want to do a team sport now. And I love hockey so much that I picked that one naturally.
Nice. And do you start in Bordeaux or in another club around there? Because I also play in Villa Primrose.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are two clubs. You have Villa
Yeah.
Primrose indeed, and you have for the women it's SA Mérignac, Sam. You
Yes.
have and the male version is Girondin de Bordeaux, but it's the same community. And so I started at SA Mérignac. Then after 2 years, I moved to Primrose because I had more opportunities to be a first goalkeeper there, which was better for my dream of playing with the youth national team of France.
Nice. And after there, how do you continue? Do you keep playing there for many years, or you just move to other clubs? Or
I moved a lot. I was
yes.
really, I had my Olympic dream already when I started hockey at 12. And for me, I wanted to be the best I could and I wanted to learn the more I could and learn from other people. So I played my first 2 years at Mérignac. Then I moved to Primrose for 2 years because I could be first goalie there, which was really necessary for my growth with the youth national team. And for 2 years, I went to Normandy in France, not for hockey, just because I followed my mom who moved there. And then I came back my first year at university in Bordeaux. And my plan was to stay there. I went back to my first club, Mérignac. My goal was to stay there. And then I received a call from the coach of the national team at the time who was playing in Ronchamp in the north of France around Lille. And I went there and then I stayed 1 year. Then I got another opportunity at another higher level. I went there and I went to Douai, a hockey club in Douai, also in the north of France. And after that, I decided, you know what, I want to learn from the best because I want to be the best I can be. And Maddie Inch was the best goalkeeper in the world at the time. She was playing in the Netherlands. And I thought, well, if she's in the Netherlands and she is the best, I want to also play at that level and learn from the best. So I applied to Sirte, where she was playing at that time, to be second or third goalkeeper or anywhere in the team. I wouldn't mind. And then one thing leading to another, I went to HRC in the Netherlands, and that was my first year in my Dutch journey in a way. And 6 years after, now this is my last weeks in the Netherlands before I moved to Antwerp.
Nice, nice. And has been always your position, the goalkeeper, or did you start as a player, or always was from the beginning keeper? And
I started as a player first because that's all we knew in France. So at school you only have players because you play in the playground, so that's the easiest thing to be a player. And then at our club in France, you really don't have as many teams as you can have in the Netherlands or Belgium or maybe Spain, Argentina. I don't know where are the listeners coming from in this podcast, but France, we have one team per youth, and sometimes we don't have a team per youth. It's, for example, you don't have it on the 14 because you have a gap, so you have on the 12, on the 16, and then you try to figure out, how to mix all of them. So in my case, I think we were, let's say, nine or 10 on the 12, and no one wanted to be a goalkeeper. So if there was no one who wanted that, then there was no goalkeeper at training until one time we had our first tournament against other clubs. And then I saw from afar, I saw a sort of like um, Power Ranger armor, something like this, like
yeah.
superhero armor. And I was like, hey, what is this? This looks so cool. This looks super fun. And my coach said, yeah, it's a goalkeeper outfit. And I said, what do we have that? Why don't we have that at training? Why, can we have that? And he said, well, we have one, but no one wants to be a goalkeeper, so we'd never train with one. And then the next training, all I wanted to do was put the goalkeeper kit, try, and I find it super fun, and I really love to try stopping the balls. I used to play football a lot at school, so for me, I think that's where it comes from, just the love to stop balls as a goalkeeper, and I never stopped.
So from that day, you always wanted to be a transformer with all that kit
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
play.
yeah. I love it. Well, now I have in my helmet. Jesper is the guy who designed my helmet, and I asked him to put some like lightning on in front with like the blue, white, red flag colors. So I do feel like a Power Ranger superhero in my kit next to him. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And as a goalkeeper, yes, because my sister is also she also used to be a goalkeeper, and I leave a lot things about goalkeepers and everything, um, and I know it's completely different than like outdoor players because the position is different and everything. Do you know something that you would like to know when you started and you learn now and you say, okay, I would like to call Lucy when I was 12 and say, hey, look, this is going to happen. This is what you need to know.
It's a good question. It's a really good question. If I think strictly on the mental point, because at the end of the day, that's the most important. I would say no matter what happened, keep focusing on your love of the game. Keep on focusing on the fun you get from being a goalkeeper, the fun you get from playing with your teammates, and just from doing something you love. Keep focusing on the love you have and the fun you get, and keep on just focusing on the pleasure to play over the pressure to perform. And I'm thinking this one because my last season in France, when I was playing at the highest level I ever played at that time, I started setting so much expectations on my shoulders because I was playing at the highest level ever for me. I thought now I have to be perfect. I can't make any mistakes. I have to stop every ball. I have to be perfect every game. So I have to make clean sheets. We have to win. I want to win. I want to just be the best. I have to prove myself that I have to be the best and I want to be the best. And I'm working so hard besides hockey. I want to show it and I have to show it on the field. So I was starting to focus on not the wrong things, but things that can become really tiring and draining if you only see hockey as one performance activity in a way. And it took me a lot of time and a lot of months crying and being frustrated and not being able to perform actually, because the more I was focused on performing, the less I was performing, until I had a conversation with my national team coach because I realized I need help right now. I'm struggling. I can't find a solution by myself. So I need help, and I asked for help, and my coach simply listened to me saying everything I just shared right now. And then he asked me, why did you stop playing hockey? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the point of the conversation right now? And he said, well, you started because you love it. And I replied, well, yeah. And he said, naturally, none of your explanation now and why you're struggling is mentioning how much you actually love hockey. It's only about performing, being perfect, clean sheet, stopping everything, proving yourself. You didn't start hockey to do that. You started because you loved it and you found pleasure in it. So just go back focusing on that little girl you were who only played hockey for the love of it, and you'll see how that will go at training and at games. And that was really a click for me, a change. And after that, I would really intentionally focused on smiling when the referee blows the start of the game, telling myself during trainings or during warm up, during games, I'm so happy to be here right now. I'm so grateful to do something I love. And it's hard sometimes to focus your brain on being grateful and happy to be doing something you love now when you are not performing as much as you would like to, if you have bad trainings or if you feel tired, or because it takes mental work. But when you have that switch, it really helps changing your whole energy on the moment. And for me, that was a really big lesson that I keep on focusing on almost, every day or as much as I need. At the Olympics, I was focusing on having fun all the time. So yeah, I think for me, little Lucy would have loved to have that knowledge when she started hockey, because it would have avoided me a lot of tears.
Exactly. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
And Lucy, I tried to be a goalkeeper one time, and I remember when I saw my friend charging the stick to hit into the goal, I ran away from the goal. Uh, do you think it's good for the goalkeeper sometimes be scared of the ball, or is not good at all to be scared?
It's a good question. I think to only talk about my experience, there are sometimes when I'm scared of the ball still. I'm scared of being hurt, and I notice that it only happens when I'm really tired or when I am not ready mentally. Like if my mindset is not set properly, then I become insecure, and then I become scared of the ball and of being hit again. Like just being hit on the top of your toes if you have to stop the ball with your feet. This is
Yeah.
this is a painful one. So yeah, your body kind of anticipates the pain when you see the keeper playing. So I think being scared, at least just to talk about my experience, is natural because we're still human beings. So the fear I have is a natural one to a certain extent. Like if you really are afraid every single time, even if you feel at your most confident and you want to run away, then maybe goalkeeping is not for you, which is okay. But I think fear is normal, but not too much fear. Otherwise, maybe talk with someone, ask for help, talk about it.
Yeah.
If you are a goalkeeper, um, because it's never comfortable to be
And
scared.
what's your relationship with the in the trainings with the shooting goal in short distance? Because I know many keepers get really
Yeah.
angry. Other ones they don't mind, or other ones say, "Oh yes, hit strong," or someone say, "No." I used to have a goalkeeper that every time you hit really close, the next one he will go and slide on you and put you in the sky. What's your relationship with that one?
I personally don't mind because I always look at every situations at training as if it could happen in the game. If a player ends up 5 meters or 4 meters away from me and shoots a rocket in the game, I'm gonna say, no, no, time out. That doesn't count. You were too close. It's my job to it's my job to go to read the game better, to go out, to stay with him, to dive, or to just be confident, or just stand and don't do anything and let him shoot if it's too close. But I think it's my job to stop the ball. The players, you do whatever you want. So I'm not the type to complain.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And you say that your dream from play an Olympic game was from you were 12,
Yes.
no? Yes.
Yes.
And how was all that process until you make the Olympic Games? Because I know there is a lot bad moments during the process, a lot incredible moments. How was all that process? Because I saw that you've been in the Netherlands also to be able to make the national team and everything. How was that process for you until you make the Olympics and until the day you were on the field there singing
Yeah.
the France song and in front of all your crowd and everything? How was that all that process for you?
Do you have 3 hours for me to answer? It's a no, it's a wonderful question. I'm gonna try to give an answer as condensed and detailed and short as possible because it is like I'm 26 now, so it's a 14 years
Mhm.
process. I can start here
Yes.
for anyone who has a dream. It takes long time before you achieve it sometimes. And we have to first be okay with the fact that it's going to take a long time. So indeed, I was 12, and when I was 12, it was 99% impossible that my dream could become a reality because France was not qualified to Paris 2024. We were not a team who has who had ever been playing at an Olympic women wise. The men had been qualified in the past. And we were, I think, ranked maybe 25, 30, 20 in the world, something like this, when I was 12. So there was no conversation about us being able to qualify ever. So first, I followed my dream because for some reason it was in my heart, and I decided I just want to follow what's in my heart because I don't know why it's here. I don't know why I got that dream. All I know is that it is very important for me to chase that, to chase what's in my heart. I want to find out what could happen if I give myself a chance to follow what's important for me. So that was the first step of the process was was following my heart, even if everyone, and I could also say it is impossible because it seems impossible. I just want to find out what would happen because I don't want to have any regrets at the end. And in the end, it actually paid off because it ended up being a reality. So sometimes following your heart, as cliche and cheesy as it sounds, it really makes a difference. So yeah, the first two things are be open with your dream taking a tremendous amount of time before it becomes a reality. And then be okay with the fact that even if it is impossible, it doesn't mean it is impossible. Follow your heart and give yourself a chance and go find out. Then another thing that was in my process obviously was a huge amount of work not like every single day, but I'm gonna say important note is when I say every single day, days off are included as part of working every day. Like if you paid attention to your protein intake, if you had enough water to recover, if you stretched, and if you had a day off, this for me count as working for your goals, athlete wise. I was not in the gym every single day because otherwise you just burn yourself and you get injured. But if I was not training, I was taking a day off and I was working every day also on my mind to just get better. So there was a lot of work, a lot of time asking questions to people to learn from others. Don't be afraid to ask questions if there's something you're struggling with. Like I would always ask, well, the last time was Josie Koning, my goalkeeper teammate at Den Bosch. When I played 3 years with her, I would ask her a lot of questions like, how do you react on short corner? Like, how do you do on shootout? What do you tell yourself after having had 10 clean sheets? How do you react to pressure? Like anyone, it doesn't have to be an international goalkeeper. Ask questions to people so you can learn from others and use that knowledge in your own process. And then another thing was just never think you've made it. As in when I went to Den Bosch or when I became first goalie after 5 years being second, not once I thought I made it. Like I'm the best, I made it, or I don't need to get better anymore. Because the moment you think you've made it, for me, is the time you stop to actually really getting better. Because there will be a thing in your head that turns in and you will unconsciously start thinking, oh, I don't need to do the extra repetition because I'm already made it. No, I don't need to take off my sleep because I made it. And you will start slacking on small details that will make a difference when someone else who wants to take your spot will actually still be focused on the details. So that was also something important for me. On the Olympic year, I never thought once that I had the spot of first goalie until I heard my coach saying that I was the first goalie, because I always said and thought, you never know what can happen. Just keep working. You don't know what the coach is thinking. It's not because you were at Den Bosch that it's going to mean you're going to be first. So I never took any positions for granted. I never took any club for granted. I kept working. Yeah, I kept asking for help, and yeah, worked on my mind a lot. The mind is the most important things. And I remember and I can finish with that one. Very, very, very important point is you are going to have failures or setbacks. I've had tremendous amount of times where I was again selected as second goalie, or I would contact clubs in the Netherlands or in Belgium or in Spain or in Germany, and no one was saying yes to me. Like after my first year in HRC, the coach sent me off, and I couldn't find any other club. I had to play fifth division below as first goalie because someone contacted me because they needed a goalkeeper there. But it's not because I'm an Olympic goalie that and I reached my dream, that everything on my path was 100% easy, and I didn't have any struggles or hardships or obstacles or failures or hard days or bad days or horrible days. And I had it all. And the point that is very important for anyone to remember who has a dream and who is listening is obstacles are not taking you away from the main road of your dream. Obstacles are the main road. I've had billions of obstacles, and every time they're here to test you, to teach you something, to help you grow, and you have to just keep following your heart. Like my mom one day, she asked me, why don't you give up trying to find a club, because you can't find any club, just come back to France, do your studies like normal and have a job. And I said to my mom, I can't, because I want to keep on trying and find out and give myself a chance. I want to know I did everything I could for getting a chance at succeeding my dream. Or maybe not, but at least I want to know, not as in I would have been second goalie, but I want to know I gave everything I could. So that's the last point I can share with people is you're going to have obstacles. You're going to fail. You're going to feel like it's a failure, but sometimes 5 quote unquote failures are actually setbacks, and then they will bring you to a success. And then you're going to realize, oh, well, I'm really happy at all these setbacks because they brought me to this, like before going to Den Bosch and having a call that I could come at Den Bosch, I had like literally the biggest 2 years of hardships and setbacks and struggles. And that's something I keep on reminding myself is before every breakthrough, you're going to have a breakdown. It doesn't have to be a mental breakdown, but your life will feels like it's falling apart. Keep going. It's for a reason.
Exactly. Yes. And this is why I started the podcast now, because the idea is to know all the stories behind the elite athletes. Not because they play an Olympic or they won a World Cup. It doesn't mean behind them there is nothing, or it wasn't any fail or any really hard work or anything. So that's why the idea was to start with the podcast and know more about all that part than as a fans we can see. Yes. And I imagine during all this process, did you have moments where you say, okay, I don't know if I can continue, I don't know if I can do this, or it was always you keep that motivation all the time, or was one day that you wake up and say, okay, I can't, I need to sit down and think about what I'm doing?
It's a good question. I can't remember a time where I ever wanted to quit, because when I went back with the national team in 2017-18, I was really weak mentally, as in I couldn't handle any physical pain. If I'd go for a run, you do some cardio, you start sprinting, your legs starts burning, I would stop and cry. I would say, nah, it's painful, I can't keep on going anymore. Which means I needed to work a lot on my mind and on being able to endure physical discomfort during training. So I started trying to learn from other athletes and trying to understand what they were saying to themselves when they were doing heavy workouts like CrossFit or triathlon or any swimmers, any athletes, it doesn't matter the sports. And I ended up finding out some Kobe Bryant's video, and he's still, even if he passed away, he's still my big sports mentor and idol. That's why I'm number 24, because he was 24. And in one of his speech, he would talk about that he would talk about the fact that at the end of his career, he wants to be able to look at himself in the mirror and be able to honestly tell himself, I did everything I could to become the best basketball player I could be. And he didn't want to have any regrets. And for me, that was really, really, really my guideline. Was no matter how hard it is, how uncomfortable it is, and how much it's hard, I want to keep on going because I want to tell myself at the end, whether I'm first goalie or I'm second goalie or anything, like if I'm injured or whatever, I want to be able to honestly tell myself I gave everything I could to give myself a chance to reach my dream. And if I could do that, for me, I had won. For me, this was success. If I would have been second goalie and I would have been able to say, honestly, Lucie, you gave everything you could, I would have literally been proud of myself and said, then it was meant to be only to go through the journey and not to reach the goal. I would have found some peace in failing in a way to my dream because I knew I gave everything I could. And so when you have no regrets, for me, that's success. And also the fear of having regrets, that was my fuel. I was fearing every day of having any regrets. And on days where potentially you want to quit because you're not motivated to train or it's hard or you get injured, I would, like I said earlier, I would search for help. And a lot of the time I would find help or seek help in motivational speeches on YouTube because they bring a lot of inspiration and they shift your mindset, they shift your perspective. And yeah, YouTube videos and Kobe Bryant's perspective and the fear of regret was really my drive that never made me ever questioning if I wanted to quit or not.
Yes, exactly. And I was yesterday looking at a podcast with of Guardiola. Yes,
Yeah,
and he was saying that the most educational tool he have in his life was the sport. Yes,
yeah.
what's your view on that?
About the most educational thing in life is sports. Oh, um, I would uh, I would agree. I wouldn't. I'm gonna put it in the top three of most educational things because it does teaches you a lot indeed about failures, team group, getting better, doing things even when you don't want to because you don't feel like you want to train every day. So it deals with expectations, pressure, fun. There's so much lessons sports can give you. But there's also other things like I think personal hardships can help you a lot or teach you a lot, or any books on different topics can teach you a lot. Yeah, like if I'm thinking now about a book that I read, it's my favorite book ever. It's called The Choice from Dr. Edith Egger. She
Hmm.
was deported in Auschwitz when she was 16. So she lived during the Second World War and she explains her story and it teaches so much things about joy, about finding freedom, about forgiveness, and forgiveness when Hitler has killed the whole family is a certain level of being of forgiveness. It talks about self-love and kindness and finding your place and finding how you belong to a place where you don't feel like you belong. And so for me, yeah, tools like this, personal stories about war, like in that case, it's about war, are really also highly educational, a way that sports can teach you. So I'm gonna agree to, and I'm gonna say it's the top three of most educational,
Yeah, yeah,
educational
yeah.
thing ever.
And Lucy, for you, what it take to be an elite athlete? What do you need to give for be an elite athlete?
Oh, that's a
Because
good
I know there
question.
is it take a lot, yes, but for you as a goalkeeper, and I know because obviously be a goalkeeper is completely different than an outdoor player because outdoor players normally on a game they maybe rotate a lot. Goalkeeper maybe sometimes they don't even as a second goalkeeper maybe you don't play a game or what it take to, for you as a goalkeeper to be an elite athlete.
It's a great question. I think the first thing that comes to my mind now is in order to become an elite athlete, you have to want to become an elite athlete. And second, if you truly want that, you have to understand what it means to become an elite athlete, because a lot of the time people are going to say, oh, I want to be first goalie at the club, but I want to keep playing with my friends. And I'm frustrated because I'm playing with my friend's team and the level is not so high. I don't have so much fun, but I still wanted to play with my friends. So sometimes people say they have goals or they want something without understanding what it really means to want something. So if you want to become an elite athlete, understand that it takes a tremendous amount of sacrifices, a lot of discipline, a lot of work, a lot of asking questions, a lot of hard times, a lot of really not funny times because you're going to be away from your family potentially, but if you have to travel, you have to be just a lot of the time by yourself, and just to think of only these things now. And not everyone, once you realize this is what it takes, not everyone wants that, because a lot of times you think, actually, I want to go and party with my friends on a Saturday night more than I want to be fresh for my game on Sunday. So you have to choose what is really important for you, what really is your goal, and do you understand everything that means becoming an elite athlete? And if you really understand everything that it takes, then do you want to become one? And then if you really want to become one, I would trust that you are already mature enough to find ways to understand what it takes to become one, which means just go start talking with your coach, asking questions, read documentaries about athletes, watch documentaries, read books, just study elite athletes. There are billions of resources out there and books and documentaries on any platforms you want. You'll find your answers and use that as a tool in your own journey. Learn from other stories like you are now learning from my stories, and use all these tools to make them your own and build your own journey.
Yes, exactly. And um, as a because we talk about you as a second goalkeeper, yes. How is the process that affect to be the second goalkeeper during a dream that you have? Because uh, I imagine that you also have weeks where you may not play with your team, or you always, or you've been rotating with the first goalkeeper, or you have that weeks where you say, okay, I'm going, but I'm gonna be in the bench and maybe I'm not playing, and then how you have that energy to keep working, because I I I see in the past with teams that they have two goalkeepers and the second goalkeeper was like, no, I'm not going to training because I'm not gonna even play this weekend because the first keeper is better than me, so I'm not gonna play. So why am I gonna go to the training? So for you, it was that did affect that to you in some points. Did you have that moments where you have maybe 2 3 weeks without playing?
So the way I was second goalie was in two teams. So obviously I had the national team, and then I had my club. So I was second goalie at my first year at HRC in the Netherlands, and then I was second goalie for 3 years at Den Bosch. So the last 2 years before now, being in Antwerp as the first. So when I was at my club, let's say in Den Bosch I barely never played. Sometimes I had one Gold Cup game, once or twice a year, but I played barely no game. So I didn't rotate with Josine. And I always was 100% fine with being second goalie. Also at HRC my first year. Because we just talked about being an elite athlete. For me, my goal as an elite athlete is to get better. And every day my only question is, how can I get better today? And then the second part is, in order to reach my goal, which is again the Olympics. Well, now I have other goals, but it's still, how can I get better to have my team win on Sunday? So for me, with Den Bosch being second goalie, how can I get better today? Easy, give you 100% at training because it's the best training environment you can get, which means you are getting a chance to get closer to your dream because you can get better. So give your best at training. It's going to allow you to work for your goals. I didn't care about playing or not because playing was not my goal. My goal was to get better. And a lot of the time, again, talking about elite athletes, goalkeepers or athletes say they want something without fully understanding what it means. Like if you want to be first goalie, then the first thing you should focus on is get better. Because if you're not first goalie, it means you don't have the level yet to be first goalie at the level you want to play. Maybe you can be first goalkeeper at a lower league, but I guess you don't want that. So the first thing you should focus on is not complaining that I'm not first, but ask yourself, how can I get better today? So give your best at training, start there and be happy that you are with a team and give your best. And then we focus on complaining. If you really get better and then you don't get your shot, that's another conversation. So that was my mindset with my club. And with the national team, so I was second for 5 years. And at the beginning, I was really understanding being second because the other was really better than me. I stopped playing hockey for 2 years. She just had done the Junior World Cup, so she was really better. She didn't stop, so basically, of course, she was first. And I really loved being second because I would see the game from the side on the bench. I was not able to help my team win another way than by cheering for them or saying congrats, like great pass, or complimenting my teammates. And so not being able to help the team on the field really gave me that desire, that hunger to want to be on the field. It's like you're really hungry and you have the food in front of you, but you can't have it because you're not ready yet to eat the food. So it builds this fire in you to really want to give your best for the team. And I always loved watching my team play. I was always in awe of my yeah, of my teammates running on the field, giving their best and getting hit on the foot or diving, sliding and fighting to win, lose or draw. And every time that seeing them working hard made me wanting to work hard so much for them at trainings and at the gym. So they were my inspiration. And after it became a bit hard because obviously the longer you work, the more you want to be rewarded now. So I think my last year being second, I was getting frustrated just because you become tired of just racing in a way. But again, when I would become frustrated, which is also normal, we're human beings, so all your emotions are valid. When I would become frustrated, I would remind myself, hey, your goal is the Olympics. If you're not first goalie at this World Cup qualifier event 4 years before the Olympics, it's okay. What only matters is you're first at the Olympics. I could have been second the whole 8 years with the national team. If I'm first at the Olympics, I don't care. So that's also something. Be really clear about what your goal is and just focus on that. And again, the goal has to be get better first, not be first goalie. Because being first goalie is the result of being a good goalkeeper.
Exactly. And have you ever think in the international games? Because as a second goalkeeper, when you are in a national team, that if you don't play, that it doesn't count as an international game in maybe I don't know in the FAH website. Yeah, but have you ever think on that? Because in this moment, how many international games you have?
I think I have something like 37, 38,
But
something like
thinking in
this.
all the years you've been as a second goalkeeper, you maybe could have a lot more.
Well, also I could have anyone in the French national team, not just me, could have a lot more because we did a lot of practice games.
Oh, okay.
So we barely have. I think our most experienced player has barely above 100 caps, but she's been playing for the 10 years, so normally she can only have 100 more at least. So yeah, but I don't really care about the. If I only had played 6 international games, and it's actually 5, and it's the Olympics, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's good. And going a bit more into the Olympics, yes, and we mentioned Olympic many times. How was the tournament? How did you leave it inside? Because every time someone asks me if I could choose between World Cup and Olympics, I always say Olympics because you can see all the athletes there for many different sports and everything. How do you leave the moment from the Olympic from inside?
It was the best 2 weeks of my life. Period. because even when we were out of the Olympics, just staying at the village and having the vibe there was amazing. It is indeed incredible. It's an incredible feeling when you play a quote unquote small sport, at least worldwide. We're not like football and hockey. It's a great feeling when you're a quote unquote small athlete and you are in the village next to Rafael Nadal, or I would see Nikola Karabatic, a French handball player, or any other famous athlete. Or I met uh, Naomi Osaka in tennis, like people that are really famous in the world. It's special to be at one place with them and you know you have the same worth at that point. Anyone in the world looks at you like you are a superstar because you are an Olympic athlete living in the Olympic Village. On the day of the opening ceremony, on the boat with friends, I'm with Teddy Riner, the handball player, the old teams, anyone that's great in France and known is great and known in France, and also small sports like hockey for us. We are all on the same boat, literally, same dress the same, all dressed the same, and you have the public on the side for 45 minutes cheering for you like crazy. And I really felt like I was Olympic champion of France at that time. It was not about your sport or how many sponsors you have or anything. It was just about you're here, you represent France, you are as equal as anyone else, and it's an amazing feeling. So for that, indeed, the Olympics as this special feeling for athletes, because it makes you really feel like you're part of something bigger than your sport. It's your country, and the village was incredible. Everyone was so nice. The volunteers were so nice, and also just realizing that this is your dream, like something I
Yeah.
was thinking about, dreaming about, crying about for years. Now I'm in it. So a lot of the time there were bikes in the village. You could take free bikes to cycle anywhere and visit the village. Sometimes I would take a bike, I would put music on, happy music on, and I would just ride and look around anywhere in the village and tell to myself, look at where you are now. This is so cool. We loved going to the gym and see all the athletes. We loved just doing anything. And the games itself, the vibe in the stadium was incredible. I knew I would play great when I saw the energy the stadium was giving me. When I stepped into the stadium when we were training, with all the blue everywhere, the tribune everywhere around, the Paris 2024 and the Olympic rings everywhere, the field gave me so much energy even when I was tired at the Olympics, because it's really tiring. The adrenaline is like 100% high all the time. I had the worst sleep ever. But I knew it would be fine because the field was literally carrying my body. And that was really special feeling. It was really special.
And Lucy, from because that was your dream from when you were 12, in which moment of the Olympic you say, okay, all the hard work pay off? It was in the moment you knew that you're gonna be on the team, or it was in any moment, or in the moment you were in the boat with all the rest of the French different sport teams, or in which moment of the Olympics you say, okay, all the hard work, all that crying moments, everything has pay off right now?
Well, thinking about that moment makes me emotional. So I'm gonna try not to cry. I get some small tears in my eyes, but it was the last game against China, thanks to the public. The public has been absolutely incredible to us. I'm going to say French public because there was a lot of public. I'm going to consider they were French. But the public, all our games were incredible, and we are really not used to this. Having our crowds singing for us and cheering for us. There were different games. For example, the first time against Germany, I do a couple of saves, and then the public starts screaming my name in the whole stadium while the game is on, and I just hear them, and I just want to just stop the game and give a hug to everyone and say thank you, because you just realize what is happening right now. Whenever do you have a whole stadium screaming your name because of how good you're playing at that moment? It was an incredibly moving moment, and after every game we had all the fans and the young athletes, young kids who come and they want your autograph, and they say how happy they are to come and discover hockey or come and see you play, and to just have felt all the support from the fan and the public every game, all the cheering during the games, even if we were not winning. The last game against China, I was really enjoying every last round when you walk around the field at every game. But the last one against China, when you know it's the last one, I cherished a bit extra. And every time I would say myself, well, this was it in a way, because my goal indeed was to play at the Olympics and play great. And from my point of view, I did it. I'm really happy with my performance. At least I have no regrets, I'm going to say. So to have been able to train for the dream of your life and do it and have no regrets in how you did it, for me, that was a special feeling. And having the crowd congratulating you for that hard work, that was special. It was just the crowd, just all the love of the crowd. I felt like, yeah, well, done. This was it. We did it. We did it as great as we could with what we had. And yeah, I love this moment so much.
Yes, I remember I watching the games and everything. Um, I saw you, and I think you have a really good tournaments. I even remember one. I think was one game against the Netherlands. I think was, and you women you got injured.
Yes, yes,
Yes. Now
yes.
my reaction was okay. France now is in problems,
Yeah.
and then you go back, and I was like, okay, they're safe.
Yeah, cute. Yeah, indeed. What happened? Yeah, I had to miss I didn't play the second game against Belgium because indeed I dislocated my shoulder during the game against the Netherlands because we scored and I was celebrating the game, turning my arm around me with a bit too much enthusiasm, and my shoulder already got out, like got dislocated 2, 3 times the past year and a half, so it was already sensitive. And so turning around like crazy, it didn't like it. So indeed, we're scoring, everyone is happy, and then I'm like, a referee, stop the time, referee, with my shoulder being out. And yes, I have to leave the field for 2 minutes because I called the doctor. And
Yeah.
then yeah, my last defender, she understood what was happening, and then she said to the team, like small third like hurdle with the players, and then she told me later, she said, "Okay, girls, no one panic. We stay calm. Lucie probably has to leave the game. We might finish without a goalkeeper. It's all gonna be okay." Like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna do it together. And then I came back after 2 minutes. I was a bit nervous with my arm though. I was like, okay, don't move too much, but there was no way I would have leave the game or not come back. It was impossible. Like, I was in my
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant mindset.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I was like, there's nothing taking me out of the field. If I could have played against Belgium, I would have played. But luckily, with the rules now, we could change for one game for injury. So
Yes.
that was good.
And during the Olympic, do you have any sport athlete that you wanted to see in the Olympics, around the village or something? Do you have anyone?
Yeah, I wanted to see Kevin Mayer, the decathlon athlete. I saw him, but I was too shy to go and talk to him, so too bad. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to also see Vincent Louis, who's a French triathlete, but he didn't get selected, so I literally couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And then there was a French, Philippe Lucas, a French swimming coach, and all of the athletes I said inspired me in my own journey mentally. I was looking at a lot of documentaries of athletes, and they said words or sentences or perspective that helped me in my journey. So I really wanted to see these athletes, for example, to just thank them, and yeah, let them know how they inspired me in their journey. Maddie Inch also, I wanted to see Maddie Inch, and I was
Yes.
grateful to see her because she was assistant coach for the American team in field hockey, and we played against them, so I could talk to her because she was also a big part of me being at the Olympics now. I can't remember if there was any other like special. I
And
think this one's the match.
have you take pictures with them, or it was like I want to see them, but then in the moment you are like, do I go or no?
Tom Daly also, the British.
Oh,
Yes, I took a
Tom
picture
Daly,
with him.
yes.
Yeah, I took some pictures. Sometimes, like with Teddy Riner, also the French judoka. I took some pictures, but for me, sometimes I'd rather. I think because it was the Olympics, I wanted the picture. Otherwise, if I see people I admire, let's say in the street or another event, I'm just happy to tell them the stories I have
Yes.
and not necessarily get a picture. But yeah, I did get asked for a lot of selfie too. I have to say.
Exactly. And going a bit away from the Olympic, I have a question because there is a lot of people and they when they start the process for their dreams, in some moments they just give up.
Hmm.
Yes. What do you think is the common reason of why people give up in their dreams? Is because obviously I want you to go more into all the mental health, and I think this is one of the biggest common reason in all of this. But for you,
I think the first thing that comes to my mind now is people give up because it's hard, and it can be really difficult mentally to keep on going through some hard times and hard challenges and hard moments and uncertainty, uncertain, uncertainty, and it's uncertain. Like you don't know
certain.
what's gonna happen. You don't know if you will make it. You don't know if you will succeed. So I think yeah, that would be one reason. It's hard, and sometimes also maybe your priorities shift. Like we've had some players in the national team who simply left the team before the Olympics, not on Olympic year, but before Olympics year, because they simply realized their drive for hockey, passion for hockey was not worth all the sacrifices anymore going to an Olympic year, which is completely okay. And sometimes it also happens, like you have a big goal, a big dream, and then your desires switch, so you quit. And
Mm.
we also can be okay with that. So yeah, the first thing I can think about now is just it's hard, I would say, and uncertain. And we also live in a society that makes things around us more and more comfortable. We can have anything we want delivered to our door. If you order something on Amazon, you can have it the next day. You can have all the foods you want from all the restaurants. It's if you think about it, like you want to call someone, you can just call someone. You don't need to write a letter like before. You can have anything and basically at basically any time, travel anywhere. Everything is easy. So when you have hard time, and sports is a lot of hard times, then your brain is just naturally not used to this. So it can become really, really challenging to keep on willingly keeping on going through hard times. And then sometimes, yeah, mentally, especially if let's say your environment pushes you to that direction and say, no, yeah, indeed, it's too hard, you should quit, then you quit. I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone who is listening who quitted. Obviously, everyone has their own reason. I'm just
Exactly,
sharing
yes.
right now
No,
what
no.
would be one idea. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. And going more into all the mental health in an athlete and everything that we talk a lot about that. Um, I know you have a podcast where you talk about a bit of everything. Yes. What was the idea from the podcast when you started? And it was also part of the idea was help other people in their mental health.
Yes, the idea when I started my first podcast, Today is a Good Day Too, was to help people who want to better themselves start doing it today, because it's so easy to postpone to tomorrow and tomorrow again and tomorrow again, working on ourselves mentally, because it's in our mind, so we don't really see it. And the priority goes to doing the dishes, whatever, cleaning your room, like things you can actually see and finish easily in a way, or as in an hour. Whereas when you want to work on your mind, sometimes you don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. And because you don't necessarily know these things, you're going to push it into tomorrow, which end up being never done or sometimes. And my goal was really to help people today. So that's why it was today. It's a good day to whatever the theme of the episode was.
Wash the clothes. Day
Yeah,
to wash the
good
clothes
day to
because
wash the clothes.
to be
Yeah,
honest, I still postpone that day because I used to do
yeah,
it on Monday and today Thursday, so I still
yeah.
postponed it.
Yeah,
My
I
washing
understand.
clothes.
Yeah, I understand. As long as you end up doing it, that's good. That's good. For real. That's good. And yeah, so that was the idea, to help people and to just help people learning how to think a different way as well. That's my only goal with the podcast and with my life in general, is helping people learning how to think a different way, and to do that in my podcast through me sharing stories on a specific theme of the day and sharing tips of things they can do in their own life, or things I was doing in my own life. I try to make it as relatable as possible, so it's not only sports related. It's a mix of mental health and high performance podcast. And something that that was really important for me to share in every episode, I'm gonna do it now. It's changing your mind, or improving your mind, or improving anything like loving yourself, increasing your self confidence, improving yourself, to any topic mentally. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of work, and it's not gonna be set forever. I hate it. I really hate it when I'm gonna see podcast titles where the host is saying, listen to this one trick to never be sad ever again, or do this 5 minutes technique to always feel happy. And I'm like, this is bullshit, because it's really not how it works. And I know it because I've done my own mental health journey for the past 10 years, and I've learned to love myself. And there were days where I hated myself. Some days you learn to be confident, and then some days you're not confident at all. And that's the goal. The goal is to find tools to help you feel better when you don't feel better, knowing that there will be a day you won't feel good. So that's why we do the work. Like, you go do groceries to put food in your fridge, because the day you're hungry, you have to eat, you have food in your fridge, you know? So yeah, that's really important for anyone who is listening, who is trying to work on the mindset. Just know that it's never finished. There's never a day when you think, oh, I feel confident and I'm going to feel confident for the rest of my life ever. It's not happening. And that's normal, because we're all human beings. And on days where you feel bad, or you feel like the work you did is not working anymore, that's normal. It's just part of being human. So don't think there's something wrong with you if you've listened to that mindset trick to never be sad ever again, and you're still sad, 3 weeks after. You're just a human being.
I saw one in YouTube that is like how to have 1 million views in your YouTube videos, and the
Yeah.
video have only 10 views.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see? That's exactly, it's so funny. I love this. Yeah.
So yes, so Lucie, thank you for being the podcast. Yes, I think it was really nice to have a chat with you, talk about all like your career until now. And the last questions that I want to obviously do for finish is what's next for you?
Oh, what's next? It's a good question. To be fully honest, because I like to be fully honest, I think it's important. I actually started to see a therapist after the Olympics. I started months ago, because I was really feeling not sad, but last year, Olympic year, was really hard for the French team, at least. We had traveling every week to France, 8 trainings in 3 days, plus all the trainings after when you go back home. It was non-stop training. So mentally, if I would think about how hard it was, I would literally want to cry. And I understood it was not okay. So I wanted to see a therapist to talk about it with her. And she helped me to realize what's next is actually looking back and take the time to be proud of you, be proud of what you've done, and just enjoy the fact that you've reached your dream. And that was a bit of a new perspective for me because I've always been focused on the next goal, the next step, get better, the next exercise, the next gym day where you can get better, anything, always the next thing, the next quote. And now the big goal, the big thing I need to work on mentally is just to not focus on what's next, but focus on what was and stay there a bit and be proud of me a bit because I literally achieved my lifelong dream. And after 2 weeks, I was like, okay, what's next?
Exactly,
Settled, you
yes.
know? And then I realized, no, I like this feeling I'm going to get my Olympic tattoo in 2 weeks and I can't wait to just look at it and realize in front of me on my arm, I've done that. And I want to stay in this feeling of I've done that. And it's not to think, well, literally in that case, yeah, it is, I made it. But I made it to just wrap myself in the joy and the proud and the pride and the relief that yes, you've done it. Like you can be proud of you. And when I will go back again in February with Antwerp, then it's gonna be the time to think of okay, what's next? Now you have the European Cup, the this summer with the national team. I want to perform there. What's next is gonna be keep on getting better and um, I hope win as many games as possible on Sundays. That's gonna be the small next. You know, like what's next is gonna be every week a new next in a way. But so that's a bit where I am now. I'm trying to focus on what was more than
And
what's next.
is there in your mind any new dream or
My new, yeah, yes and no. I mean, a dream as I had about the Olympics, I won't have it, I think, because it was really for years and years and years looking at that only one star in the sky. Now I have another dream or goal professionally wise. I just want to help other people reach their own dream. I want to become a mindset coach. I want to coach other athletes. I want to do conference for goalkeepers on the mindset. I want to publish books. I want to release a mental calendar. I want to keep on doing the podcast. There's a lot of things that I want to work on and create and put out in the world to help people learning how to think a different way so they can improve their capacities mentally, emotionally, physically as an athlete, but also as a person. Because we are a person first before being an athlete. So that's my main vision, main cause for my future. It's not really
perfect?
hockey goals. If you bring LA 2028, yes, I'll dream of going back again.
Of
But
course,
that, yeah, yes, but
if you can
yeah,
have two, you
yeah,
want to have two. Eh?
yeah, exactly.
Perfect, Lucy. Thank you very much for be here to share all your experience, all your mentality, and all the help you want to give to everyone. I think it's really nice, and now you are sharing all your experience and also your knowledge to everyone who is uh, working really hard for their dream. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice.